Are you ready to take your organization to the next level and become a game changer in your industry? Then look no further. Welcome to Yeukai Business Show, where we bring you the world's top business thought leaders to share their secrets to success, from leadership development to finance, marketing, self-development, human resource management, and much, much more. Our guests reveal the strategies, tactics, and mindsets that have made them so successful. So let's dive in and learn from the best in the business. Hello, and welcome back to another great episode. And with me today for the first time on the show is the expert, the passionate marketing expert, Kat Kennan, who has helped a lot of people, especially in the US, build high impact, customer driven strategies for CEOs and nonprofits, startup, and a lot of B2B businesses. Kat, thank you so much for joining us here on the show.
I am absolutely thrilled to be here. Thank you
Incredible.
so much.
You know, one of the things that I admire about you is you have overcome a lot of things. And in the process, you have used what you learned from overcoming trauma, particularly, yes, and your marketing expertise to create your own niche. Really, you're helping people from your experience and from a great knowledge you accumulated. Kudos to you.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, what I really appreciate about that the most is a lot of, in our lives, a lot of people, again, listening here, is our life is not straightforward. We go through different experiences and we acquire certain skill sets. And if you can find how you can put these two together and serve the community at large, you are one of, in my eyes, you are a hero, because it's not always easy to do that. So truly appreciate you joining us on the show to share your experience and helping other people overcome what you overcame as well.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm so happy to share my story.
Now, for those who don't know your past, maybe your marketing history and the trauma, would you just give us a very snapshot of who Kat is and some of the things you've done?
Yeah, absolutely. So from the marketing perspective, I've been, marketing leader, executive, CMO for going on 20 years for brands of all shapes, sizes, public, private, nonprofit, for-profit, all sorts of industries, help them build out their marketing or rebuild their marketing. And, on a personal side, I have complex PTSD. It's something that I talk about a lot. And that comes from both childhood trauma, some back-to-back adult traumas a couple of years ago, which I have now used to, I guess, create my company. And, I have a business coach that always asks, what game are you playing? And the game I'm playing is helping people how many lives I can change.
Sounds like a great business coach you have there. Yeah. I always want to be asked, what game am I playing? Because this life is more like a game. Are you the one who's always complaining, or you are the victim all the time, or you're the one who say, what a privilege we have to be alive today. We get to do these things. How can I help others to get to enjoy this life? And which seems to be exactly what you're doing. Kat, you mentioned something which is very close to my heart, because I know somebody very close to me who has experienced, suffer from PTSD just like you. And a lot of people struggles to overcome trauma and, perhaps get to serve people like you do. What is your secret? How did you do that? Maybe to help those that are actually going through things, and so they can see the end as well, just like you have.
Yeah, I think my biggest tip, which helps me honestly every single day, is being gentle with myself. Yeah. Trauma does not go away. So, regardless of when you've experienced it, whether it's in childhood or adulthood, or honestly, if it's generational and literally in your bones, there are a lot of inspirational quotes, right, that you see out there on Instagram that talk about recovery and the end being in sight. And, that really does a disservice to trauma survivors, because we are always healing. We are never healed. And that's not a negative. I think it's incredibly beautiful that, that we're here, alive in this world. And I know that my experiences, I've turned them into my superpower.
It's interesting because you mentioned earlier on that you now think slightly different than before you experienced, especially recently, some trauma you went through. Yeah. Would you share a bit of your experience in that and what that means?
Yeah. So, I mean, I am, neurodivergent, right? So fitting in the neurodiverse, and, that applies for all sorts of people. Maybe they're on the spectrum, maybe, they have ADHD. In my case, really anyone with PTSD, and particularly complex PTSD, right? My neurons just fire differently. And for every negative experience we've had that like creates that synapse in your brain, you need 10 positive ones to override it. Whether it's at work or, when I'm, on social media or reading my email and like looking at marketing, my first gut reaction, because this is how my brain works now, is mistrust, is doubt. So I want to help companies make it over that hill, essentially. Yeah.
We'll come back to how you've combined these your experiences into creating a marketing strategy for company that helps, particularly people who may perceive their message in a certain way. Want to definitely explore that, but help us understand, for those that are working closely with people who have suffered from PTSD, how, in your opinion, how can we help or work very well with people that have experienced this traumatic in a way that, sort of encourage a holistic approach where there is no, judgment there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I just put out an ebook about trauma-informed workplaces, or empathy at work. And, everything I've learned over my career of both empathy and not empathy. And I think there are some guidelines that you can implement at work, and this certainly applies, on the public facing side as well, about creating a psychologically safe workplace. So, even simple strategies like don't interrupt people in meetings. When you interrupt someone, you're essentially telling them that their opinion doesn't matter, or that whatever they're saying is, has no value. And, trauma comes up at really unexpected times. And, most of the time isn't really related to what's happening. It just bubbles up. So, I'm sure we've all been in meetings before where someone just kind of snaps, right? And gets and, gets super upset about something. And, it's confusing, especially maybe you were the person who was talking to them last, right? And it's very rarely related to anything that you said or that anyone in the room has said. It's even very, very rarely related to, say, like a fight they had with their partner or their spouse, right? It's much deeper than that. And so, when I think about it, it's like, if someone has one of their moments, it needs to be okay. Like there needs to be permission for them to come back. Is like, give them some space and then let them come back to the table. And that might not be the same day, right? That might be a couple of days later. But, we've all been forced to wear these masks in the workplace, right? That everything's okay. This is your work self, your professional self, and you're supposed to box up, everything else that's happening in your life. And that's just not realistic. So that's just like one of the main things that I always think about, is, at work, even at home, right? Like,
Right.
I have two girls, like a preteen and teenager, and I put it into practice, right? I do my best not to interrupt them, and listen. And it's just that little thing can make such a difference.
Incredible. Well, thank you for sharing that. Truly, when you talk about, be gentle with yourself, what sort of triggers sort of make you feel like I'm not being gentle? What's the internal conversation that's happening within you?
Yeah. I mean, I think that a lot of times we put ourselves, and I'm no different, under so much pressure that like we have to be perfect, or we have to get this huge list of tasks done every day. Yeah. And, we're going to have times where we're really in the flow and we're getting stuff done. And, I still have days where like, it's not an office day. It's a day that like I just kind of need to lie down and be gentle, and that's okay. Like giving myself permission. And in certain ways, like I think the pandemic helped with that, only because so many more of us are working from home now. Get your work done. Take a 20-minute nap if you need to, right? That's right. And it shouldn't matter, right?
Perfect. Incredible. Thank you so much. Now let's talk about how you were perceiving marketing messages. When you would go on Instagram, you see a lot of messages that are coming to you, Facebook, maybe on TV. Talk to us about that, and how you then turn that and you're helping other people craft better messages.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know I've had some experiences, like, I lost my mom in 2020, and, you get bombarded with Mother's Day messages, right? And, you're just like, I don't want to see it. Not one more email, not one more commercial. And it's incredibly upsetting. It really applies to all holidays, because so many of us have negative experiences, with all sorts of holidays. And, that certainly happened to me. I've had other things where, maybe it's like a mailing, it's an email, or it's a piece of direct mail that maybe the company hasn't cleaned their database, right? So it gets addressed to a partner that's no longer here, a relative that's no longer here. And just that one moment of going to the mailbox and like, that's it, your day's ruined. And it's so simple to correct. And, I put it on the lens of customer experience. So, regardless of where you are, if you're out and about and, you get, it's a restaurant, or you just, see advertising, or you're looking at social, or you're looking at email, you're watching TV, like it can come in all of these different places. I know that a couple of years ago, there was, there's a lot of photo editing apps, and I hadn't thought about this in a few years, but the picture that they were showing, honestly, it looked like the woman had a black eye, and that they were correcting it. And, I absolutely don't think someone at, that app was like, "Ooh, we're going to show like domestic violence," right? That's ridiculous. But, that's what the connotation was, right? This woman was like covering a bruise. Yeah.
Wow, incredible. So talk to me about, how you're helping companies and CEO in crafting messages that takes into consideration all these ways of their messages being perceived.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have developed strategies specifically around trauma-informed marketing, which probably for most, listeners is a very new term. You know, maybe you know the word trauma and you're thinking of hospitals, or you know about traumatic experiences, but you can't quite reconcile what that looks like in terms of, marketing or inside a company. So just being trauma informed, and I have a certification in being a trauma informed professional, is, it's just some guidelines about, how to, honestly, how to treat people. You could go to the doctor and have them, this happened to me a number of times where it's just like, so what happened to you? What's your story? Instead of, is it okay if, would you like to tell me if, right?
Right.
And that's, that's a very different experience. But from a creative or campaign perspective, the Mother's Day example is perfect of, what I talked about a few minutes ago, because there are brands out there who are implementing trauma-informed marketing, and perhaps they don't call it that, right? Because I've now seen a number of Mother's and Father's Day campaigns that are like, hey, we know this time of year may be tough for you. Click here to opt out of our Mother's Day messaging. And so like that one little thing, from a pure marketing brand perspective, you're segmenting your database, right?
That's right.
But from the customer experience perspective, they feel like, and I know I felt this, right? The first time I saw it, it's like, they get me. They know me. They care about me. They are sensitive to my experiences. And again, like even with things like data hygiene, right? I talked about a few minutes ago, is if you're not cleaning up your data, then you're leaving sales on the table, but maybe not even in the way you think, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Because, from what you just explained there, if you felt like they get me, the chances are you're not going to opt out. You may opt out for that campaign, but you will want to find out what else do they do, because they are not going to just, force things at you, but they are very considerate and they are looking after you. And that's a way of winning a customer. And once they've won you, you're going to recommend them to another company, which is an absolute win for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as marketers, we talk about customer loyalty. We're similar terms. But this is something much deeper than probably the way that we would normally define it. Like it really hits, like feel like I'm always pointing at my solar plexus, but that's where trauma is living. And so when you acknowledge someone, and we can see it's so easy to do. How easy was it to do that text or email campaign? They do feel heard. And, you really have a lifetime, a loyalty beyond like, hey, I like this kind of toothpaste, right? They really, really, really feel heard. Yeah.
Incredible. Well, if you want to know more about trauma-informed marketing, you know who to go to. Kat has got something very special, which we'll talk about toward the end of this conversation. But I want you to keep listening. And if you don't have enough time to finish to listen to the entire conversation, come back later or just now, just click the link below and go straight to find out what Kat has prepared specifically for you. But I truly do believe that the message we are talking about here, if you get this marketing approach, you could win more people in your organization through your marketing efforts. Now, coming back to Kat, for people who really want to get started now, we're using the trauma-informed marketing strategy. Where should they start from? They're doing all sorts of things, but they want to incorporate your strategy. Where is the right place to start?
I think it starts with analytics and measurement. Most brands, there's the Net Promoter Score, right? It's like that one number that, almost every company is looking at all the time. But honestly, it's one question right? Is would you recommend us to a friend? It's not actually scientifically valid for a polling or a questionnaire. You need at least 3 questions for that. So, and it doesn't really give you any information, right? It tells you on average how your customers feel about you at any given moment, right? Like, did you just have maybe you just went through support and you had a terrible experience and you're like 0, I don't recommend them. Or you had a wonderful experience and it's 10, but it really changes day to day. And so, from the radical customer experience perspective, here we've developed something called the brand sensitivity score. And it really goes through all of these elements that helps brands sort of evaluate where they are, how customers are perceiving them against so many more angles and perspectives. And then more than that, it provides the real insights and recommendations on what to do next in order to really relate to their customers in a deeper way.
While we are at it, you've created this yourselves, right?
Yeah.
For those listening, where can they find it, or if they would like to access it?
Yeah. So you can head straight to my website, which is radicalcustomerexperience.com. And if you just scroll down a bit, there's a place to sign up. I really hope you check it out.
Incredible. We will make sure that we put the link right below this audio as well for you to go check it out as well. As we come toward the end of our time together here, Kat, you have been working with several, business owners and CEO today. What sort of most frequently asked questions that you think would be beneficial to those listening today?
Yeah, I think, again, the word trauma is really overwhelming or confusing, or how does it relate to my business? I don't get it. But if you want to even take a step back from that, I think about it in terms of the marketing techniques that we were all taught, right? Which are fear-based, right? You have to get it by midnight. There's, only a few left. You have to get what this influencer is promoting. And that can be really psychologically damaging. And so if you dig into your data and you present a slightly different message, hey, we know these are our most popular products, or we know you love this, and that's based on the sales, right? It's a very different way of positioning that is just net positive. Also just is really helping connect with consumers in a more meaningful way.
Incredible. Wow, incredible. Well, the last question here before we wrap up here, as a business owner, you and I are doing the same thing, trying to get new customers in our business. What is working for you?
Honestly, just sharing what trauma-informed marketing is. Like I said, I just had this book project come out. Stay tuned for another project coming out next summer on trauma-informed marketing. Awesome. But there's a big learning curve. So certainly education is working for me. Certainly appearing on podcasts like yours is helping build awareness. Awesome. I think that's the biggest thing for sure.
That's awesome. And how do you get yourself up during those moments as a business owner that things are just not working out? You keep pushing and maybe things are not, getting new customers. How do you keep yourself upbeat and, optimistic about the future?
Yeah. I think it goes back to that being gentle with yourself. You're going to have tough days, and, there are going to be days of what am I even doing? This business isn't working. I'm failing. I think one is to realize you're not alone, right? There's a whole world of business owners that are feeling the same way at any given day. So certainly being gentle, but it can be as little as, take a walk around the block, and then you're able to look at something a little bit differently. Go take the afternoon and go to the beach, or, obviously I live on the East Coast. So, just, go to the park for a little bit and then come back to your computer and see how you feel. I think that is a lifesaver for me.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being generous with your knowledge here indeed. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to know more about trauma-informed marketing strategies and explore how you can incorporate it in your business and in your efforts to get new clients, you want to reach out to Kat. The information is right below this recording. And I want to encourage you, you may be leaving a lot of money on the table because you just don't know how to reach a certain group of people who wants to buy what you have. And by incorporating the strategies that Kat talks about and what we've covered in this conversation, you may see a difference in your sales and your bottom line. So I want to encourage you to click the link below and find out more. Kat, once again, thank you so much for being here and being generous with what you know and on a mission to helping a lot more people.
Thank you so much. I feel absolutely honored.
You are playing the right game, I would say. I appreciate that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, remember to apply at least one of the things you've learned today and see your business take a different route. In fact, you could get more done in a relatively short time and help as many people as you possibly can. I want to encourage you to keep coming back for more or check out some of the audio recordings that we have. We have, as of today, over 540 episodes that we've recorded. That's approximately 500 different entrepreneurs who are doing something different and who are nailing it every single day. So you're bound to discover one thing from all of this. And I want to encourage you, the future belongs to those that keeps learning and applying what they are learning today. So go ahead, click and explore what's going on, and would love to hear your feedback as well. Tell us what is working in your business as a result of listening or watching to any of our recording. Until next time, live well, live with passion, know that the best truly is yet to come. Once again, thanks, Kat, and goodbye. Thank you for tuning in to Yeukai Business Show. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode and have gained valuable insights and inspiration from our amazing guest. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review to help us spread the word. Also, be sure to check out our Leadership Ultimate Success Mastermind program, which is designed to help you and leaders in our community to do great things and support each other along their leadership journey. Until next time, live well, live with passion, know that the best is truly yet to come.